is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome, everybody, on this Tuesday night. The heat is back. Just got back from a walk, and it is just, I must have lost like 7 pounds, at least in water weight, which I guess is a good thing. But tomorrow, that's going to be fun. Real field temperature in the triple digits here in the New York, New Jersey area. Hey, it's summer. It's mid-July. We're going to get the heat waves. The trick is you got to go to Amazon and buy the neck fan. Yes, I got one. It goes around your neck like a scarf, except it doesn't just blow air. Somehow it has enough battery to blow cold air, like a mini air conditioner. If you could keep the neck cool, that does a pretty good job. And I think it's like $15 or something. I mean, I think it's probably one of the better investments one could make. Why am I talking about this? Let's get to the fun stuff, shall we? Which is, can you afford to buy a neck fan? Well, inflation continues to go down, as in a 6-year low. We have not seen inflation this low since 2020. So a Democrat talking point, a huge one for the midterms, is how they could only bring back affordability because they presided over the Biden economy, where inflation was 3 times higher than it is now, well above 9%. And they all voted for the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not lower inflation. And now, as we see with Mayor Mamdani here in New York, they promise affordability. And then we just saw yesterday that report that rents are now at an all-time high in this city. They're going in the opposite direction than what the socialist had promised. The food stores run by the government not open yet. The free childcare ain't coming anytime soon, nor is the free busing. So they want to keep running on this, and people are dumb enough to vote for it, then fine. But just look at the record of their biggest socialist in the biggest city in the country. And right now, he's batting zero as far as promises made and promises kept on the 4 big issues that he ran on. Well, here is CNBC's Rick Santelli, who, the guy always has some passion. I like it whenever he does these reports. He generally seems to love his job. And when you're on TV, that tends to be the case. This is cut number 1. Go.
Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back basically 6-year low.
So when you see these polling numbers where, 67% disapprove of the way Trump's handling inflation, well, I'm sorry, what would you have him do when it just keeps coming down? Gas prices keep coming down. And if this trend continues, then the midterms are going to be very, very interesting. There are 5 noted analysts that came out in the New York Times yesterday, including Nate Silver. And now Silver is saying that he believes that Democrats will take back the House and the Senate and very well could take the presidency in 2028, a clean sweep. And you say, wow, Nate Silver said that? Boy, that guy's always right, right? No. He got one election right back in 2012, which wasn't exactly a difficult election to predict. An incumbent president in Barack Obama, who got no negative press, and he went up against a milquetoast Mitt Romney, not exactly MAGA, right? Massachusetts senator. So Romney basically lost almost every swing state, and Obama won easily, and Nate Silver still doing a victory lap 14 years later to this day. It's like predicting that the Bills will beat the Jets. Yeah, that ain't hard. That's basically what that was. So, I don't know why I went with a football analogy there. Maybe I should go with baseball. It's like saying anybody beat the Mets. Yeah, I think that's better. It rhymes, too, with Jets. Anyway, the point is that I got to think these numbers will change for Trump, or just some people just so dead set against Trump, the person, that they won't give him credit for anything. Like I see on immigration, Trump is at +2 in terms of approval over disapproval. +2? The guy who secured the border, it's never been more secure. Nobody's getting into the country or being released into the country. And still, he only gets those sort of marks. It's just, that's the kind of country we're in, I guess. You attach Trump's name to anything, like these Trump accounts. If you have a newborn baby, it's free money. Free, tax-free money, basically. Incredible investment. Even some Democrats are praising it, but others, if Trump's name's on it, it's got to fail. Like Trump University. Give that a rest already. Go back decades to find the last failure. Anyway, the point is that Kevin Hassett, he's one of the president's top economic advisors. He did a victory dance, and rightly so, on Fox News earlier. Cut number 6, go.
It's sure, energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong because they didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Big thing Americans obviously care about are gas prices, especially during the summertime. If we can pull up this AAA chart showing gas prices. Right now, they're down from what they were about a month ago, but they're still significantly higher than they were this time 1 year ago. Obviously, the war in Iran is throwing a wrench into this. As long as that conflict is going on, should Americans expect these prices to just basically keep seesawing?
Well, I think that one of the ways you should think about it is that the oil prices were up almost at $150 a barrel at the peak of the conflict, and now they're low 80s today, and they were in the 60s and 70s just a week ago. So what happens is they take the oil, they move it to the refinery, and then they turn it into gasoline. So there's a whole bunch of gasoline deflation on the way. And even with the renewed conflict, if you look at what oil prices are today, they're about half of what they were in the peak.
This is all true. These are all numbers. Numbers tend to behave. One more point I was making about Nate Silver earlier, and I went off on a little tangent. 2016, he said that Hillary Clinton would win in a landslide. In 2024, he said that Kamala Harris would win. And yet, I got to see headlines everywhere. Silver says, well, yeah, he got something right 14 years ago that anybody could have gotten right. But on the two biggest elections, where it was a toss-up going into them, he predicted easy wins for Hillary and for Kamala. And now we got to listen to this guy again, just like we listened to Carville, where Carville says, Trump's not even going to finish his term. He's going to resign by next Easter. And then you go back and you look at every prediction that Carville has made over the years. Let's see, Gore over Bush, wrong. Kerry over Bush, wrong. 2008, Hillary will be the Democratic nominee, wrong. 2016, not only will Trump lose, he'll destroy the GOP forever, wrong. 2024, obviously, wrote a big op-ed saying that he knows that Kamala Harris was going to win, wrong. So these people make predictions, they're always wrong, and yet they get the headlines, and everybody's so lazy that writes these stories, they just don't go back and look at the scoreboard. And for Nate Silver or James Carville, it ain't good. We'll put it that way. Anyway, I got to get to these sound bites. Nicole Wallace, who used to be a communications director in the Bush White House, then suddenly realized that the only way, with that whiny voice and those droopy, just everything about her just is so unlikable, right? And I'm saying that as a media analyst, nothing to do with her opinion so much, but the voice. And again, she only knows that she's going to stay on MS Now if she just goes 100% full Acosta in being the resistance to Trump. That's what keeps her relevant. That's what gets her invited to the 92nd Street Y for conferences with, James Comey, right? That's what keeps her getting the contracts. So if she just said that, not so much like I'm doing this for the money and I'm saying things that I think my audience wants me to hear, but just say, yeah, I'm a hack. Well, maybe not that. Yeah, I never really was a Republican, but Bush hired me and then I decided I wanted to be on TV, and then 90% of political television is liberal. So I just did a weather vane and adjusted my views accordingly. Okay, say that and I'll respect it. Instead, here she is with the aforementioned Jim Acosta on the Kitchen Table podcast that seem to be popping up more and more. And here, this is what drives me nuts. Own who you are based on your words, your actions. Acosta, literally, when Trump's name came up the Kennedy Center in Washington, he equated that to the fall of the Berlin Wall. Oh, yeah, you're neutral. Anyway, be ready. If you have a bucket nearby, you might need it. Cut number 15, go.
I feel blessed to be welcomed into the pro-democracy coalition, but I feel sometimes like I'm rooting for them more than they're rooting for themselves.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Democracy is our home, Nicole. That's right, okay. I mean, right. I've never been registered with the political party. I've always been an independent. I've been a journalist. But, I mean, I think I see things clearly.
I mean, again, this act, I'm a journalist. I'm an independent. No, you're not. You absolutely are not. And Nicole Wallace, the worst of all of them. And these two guys, I guess they think their audiences are that stupid, and maybe they are. Anyway, let's go back to Nicole Wallace here, another part of this ridiculous interview, where she talks about how she refused to carry Sarah Sanders' press conferences because she lied And as a press secretary, the lying hurt me, so I didn't put that on the air. I protected my audience. Cut 10, go.
I stopped carrying Sarah Huckabee Sanders' briefings. Just refused to carry them because having worked there, it actually hurt me to watch her lying.
I'm hurt by this information. I stopped carrying
good,
like
Kev.
weed.
That's good, Kev. So, okay, so Nicole Wallace is hurt by lying, and she would never lie. Huh. Cut number 11. This feels like a lie to me. Yeah, it definitely sounds like one. Cut 11, go.
The permission structure for violence. You've got polls about political violence. Democrats don't think it's a good idea. Only Republicans. Only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides.
The left doesn't commit political violence. Billions of dollars in damage during the Summer of Love of 2020. Black Lives Matter, which at last check ain't CPAC. Okay, so that example alone, Antifa, the bombing of Tesla dealerships, that came from the left. President Trump's the one getting shot at from the left. But no, Democrats, they don't believe in political violence, and only Republicans do. Funny, because I got a poll here from Rutgers University showing that 56% of those surveyed believe that assassinating President Trump would be somewhat justified. Yeah, I'm sure that's from the right, Nikki? Anyway, one more before we go to break. Oh, I do love this. Nicole Wallace, this is a flashback. DJ Daniel, I think you may remember him. 13-year-old kid, stage 4 brain cancer, had to have multiple surgeries. And President Trump honored him, still alive, by making him he was either a DC police officer or a Secret Service agent, but either way, he gets the badge, and it was a standing ovation by half the gallery at the State of the Union back in January. But Nicole Wallace, this is what her takeaway was from such a special moment that you'll ever see. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat president doing this. You're honoring a kid who's beating cancer. But she had a big problem with, what his life may be in a world where Donald Trump was once president. Cut number 9, go.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
So she took a kid beating cancer and being honored by the president of the United States and somehow tied it to January 6th, a future January 6th. Yep. She's independent. She's neutral. Nope. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show, appropriately named, back with so much more. No more Nicole Wallace. That I can promise in just a moment.
Where liberalism is a no-go. The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition. Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. So, Sunny Hostin is a ghoul. Those are your 5 words to remember today. Sunny Hostin is a ghoul. I heard this on The View, and again, Lindsey Graham's barely dead for 24 hours. All right? Again, dies suddenly, age 71. People that knew Lindsey Graham, I had dinner with him once, not privately, it was like a big dinner, big table type of thing. But I got to talk to him at length, and he's just a very affable guy. You can agree or disagree with some of his positions, especially on the Warhawk stuff. But, overall, anytime anybody dies, the dance on a grave like this and just say the worst possible things about them because you're a ghoul. Well, that's what Sonny does here in cut number 13. Go.
I didn't know him well. He had been on this show several times. I remember speaking to Meghan McCain about him quite a bit, because she was very close to him and was very disappointed in the change that she saw after John McCain died. But I think, he was certainly this political chameleon, and his legacy is complicated, and people are speaking out about the very hypocrisy that you saw when he was John McCain's friend and when he became friends with Donald Trump. Steve Schmidt, who's a political strategist and worked on the John McCain campaign in 2008, wrote just today, Lindsay knew better. And he said he was a lonely and unprincipled man who betrayed his country for power and his decency for attention. That is someone that knew him. He also called him a pilot fish, a smaller fish that hovers about a larger predator like a shark, living off of its deleterious, and that's Lindsay.
That's good, guys. I mean, all right, for starters, she's quoting Steve effing Schmidt. All right, Steve Schmidt ran a horrible campaign for John McCain back in 2008. I mean, that election wasn't even close, and Schmidt hasn't worked for any major campaign since. And you're going to tell me, if you're Sonny Hostin, that Steve Schmidt knows Lindsey Graham well? I'm certain that he doesn't. Because Schmidt then went on to co-found the disgraceful Lincoln Project with George Conway, who just got a beatdown running in NY12, thank God, and with a guy named John Weaver, who really liked young boys a lot. And this group, the Lincoln Project, nearly took in $100 million in donations. And there are all sorts of reports that money didn't exactly go towards running the business, but to enrich the people that founded it, which may explain whenever you see Schmidt on MS Now. Boy, that's a big kitchen. Where'd that money come from? Hey, just asking questions. And it was a New York Times piece, by the way, on the Lincoln Project and all that money that kind of went to pay themselves. And now you're going to quote him on Lindsey Graham's death, something he wrote on Twitter? And you're going to make it sound like this guy knew Lindsey Graham well? And by the way, this whole political chameleon thing from Sonny Hostin and this whole, oh boy, he betrayed his own country, she went on to say. Why? Because, if I understand this correctly, because he supports Donald Trump, a Republican senator supporting a Republican president? That's betrayal? That's normal. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. Back with so much more in just a moment.
The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. So, Zoran Memdani, I think the shine is starting to wear off because I think he's a little bit too confident in himself and really loves to hear his own voice. And again, we talked about in the first block all the promises that he said were coming New Yorkers' way: free busing, free childcare, the government-run food stores that'll be really, really affordable if you want to buy food. They ain't coming for years. The childcare, I'd love to see him try to pull that off. And then obviously the busing, that just ain't going to happen. Now, well, there's a report that there is skyrocketing rape in New York City. And instead of just saying, we got to do a better job, this is unacceptable, we want all people, especially women, to feel safe in this great city, instead he just blames the way rapes are tallied. No, really. Cut number 7, go.
And what I think is important to know is a lot of the increase in rape also comes from an expanded definition of what counts as rape, as well as survivors coming forward for acts that took place years prior.
In other words, not my fault. And it's just people coming forward now, years later. And, it's the way you define rape. Look, here's the thing. The rapes aren't the problem, is what Memdani is saying. Noticing them is. Redefine reality until crisis disappears. This is how civilizations basically commit suicide. So in New York, please do wake up. And when I heard this, the first thing I thought of was Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know why, but I remember on The View years ago, she defended Roman Polanski, who had to flee the country, I believe, because of statutory rape, right? When you have sex with like an underage girl in his case. And Whoopi's like, well, there's rape, but that wasn't rape. You got to hear this. It's just disturbing. Cut number 19, go.
Charged, I know it wasn't rape. Yeah, there is a statutory
child molest, maybe. I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape. And when we get all the information, somebody will tell me in my ear. All I'm trying to get you to understand is when we're talking about what someone did and what they were charged with, we have to say what it actually was, not what we think it was.
What he said he did. He gave her Quaaludes. He gave her champagne. She was drugged. She was 13 years old. He asked her, here's a transcript. But that's what I'm saying. You're 13 years old. She was still a child.
Initially he was charged with rape. Go ahead. And then he pled guilty to having sex with a minor. Okay? And he went to jail. And when they let him out,
45 days.
And when they let him out, he said, you know what? This guy's going to give me 100 years in jail. I'm not staying. And that's why he left. So that's why I wanted to be really clear, because I wanted to know exactly what we were talking about.
And I'm going, does that make it okay?
That's good.
To
I mean, what the hell? It wasn't rape. I don't believe it was rape. They were having sex before. The world sees 13-year-olds differently. My daughter turns 13 this October. And if some grown man was doing that with her, he wouldn't go to jail. He'd go to hell. As in, I'll just take matters in my own hand. Thank you. I know I just admitted to, planning on murdering someone. This will never happen, of course. But the fact that she somehow defended Roman Polanski for having sex with underage girls, 13 years old, she's saying that's okay because the world sees it differently. How old was Polanski at the time, I wonder, when that happened? This is what's called stretching. I am looking to see when he was having that relationship. How old was he? Like, it wasn't like he was 19, right? Yeah, he settled an underage rape case and he avoided a 2025. He was 45 years old with a 13-year-old. Yeah, defend him. Oh, and that's an ABC News show. Just want to make that very, very clear. All right. So anyway, you got to hear this because it's one of the better clips that you will hear. And it's Joan Rivers. This came across my algorithm for whatever reason. She's being interviewed by Andy Cohen. This is obviously years ago. Joan passed away, I want to say, in the 2010s. And this was before Trump became president, started running for president. But boy, she called her shot here in cut number 3. Go.
Yeah. Jennifer B. Wants to know on Twitter, how do you really feel about Donald Trump?
I adore Donald. Do you know... Smart.
Yes.
No one gives him credit. I did Celebrity Apprentice. I thought, Donald. And then you go and you do Celebrity Apprentice and you realize this is so smart, so professional. I think he's terrific. I think he would have made a great president.
Really?
Because he's a businessman. He would have walked and said, okay, now what do we have to do?
Right.
All right, you do this, we'll do this, let's do it. He's smart.
Hard to argue with that. And Joan knew him very well. And again, this is when like an Andy Cohen, right, and a Joan Rivers can talk about Trump in the way they just did because he wasn't running for president yet. And remember when Trump ran for president that first time, he was on with Colbert and it was a very cordial interview. He was on with Kimmel. I think he read a children's book on there, if I recall correctly. And they had a bunch of yucks. They had a bunch of laughs. And he was on with Jimmy Fallon, where Fallon wanted to know if that was his real hair, and then Trump let him mess it up, and everybody laughed about it. And MSNBC, Trump was on with Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, and most of them by phone, by the way, for extended periods of time. Basically, like ran the show. I think it was 41 times. Imagine that, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski interviewing Donald Trump 41 times, because they all thought it was a big joke, and there's no way that Hillary was going to lose. And then when he won, then suddenly he became Hitler, fascist, Nazi, whatever you want to, they're calling him these days, Mussolini, Stalin, who knows. So that was the thing. That interview was from 2013 between Andy Cohen and Joan Rivers. And again, Trump was seen as a nice guy. Hollywood liked him. He did Green Acres at the Emmys. I think it was Green Acres. We're gonna, Kev, or whoever's producing, I know we got some people going in and out, busy day today. If somebody could find Trump doing Green Acres and we could play that before the end of the show, just get in my ear and tell me when we have it. because it's interesting to listen to. We'll put it that way. Anyway, what isn't interesting to listen to is this University of California at San Francisco. Their medical chancellor, okay, is making an argument which I don't believe is accurate. I'm not a doctor or a medical chancellor or anything, but this guy says that, well, men can get pregnant, which I've yet to see that. And how does the baby come out again? Well, trans, I guess, can have babies. Who knows what this is? But again, this stuff is still prevalent on college campuses. And I guess that's another college. I've never planning on sending my kids to any West Coast university. They're probably going south, SEC, baby. Vandy. Yeah, Ivy of the South. Improving football team, Nashville, can't go wrong. My son could go to Notre Dame, that I'll allow. But yeah, University of California, San Francisco is now officially off the list because of ridiculous things said like this. Cut number 14, go.
Dr. Haygood, UCSF's classroom guide titled Framework for Gender and Sex Concepts in Teaching advises against using the term pregnant women. Instead, it says to use pregnant people. Who are pregnant people compared to pregnant women? Just curious.
So that is a part of a curriculum to help our students who are facing a wide diversity of patients. Of course, the vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem with using the word pregnant women. I use it myself.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
A transgender person can.
That's not a biological woman. Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
I would reiterate,
it's ridiculous.
We take care of transgender patients.
Doctor.
Oh, all right. Again, Democrats can't tell you what a woman is, and they can't tell you whether men can get pregnant or not, then I'm pretty sure I don't trust them with running the country. But as it stands now, Kalshi has, that's the betting markets, poly market, about 80% chance they win back the House. Again, they only have to win 4 seats. They could have an okay night, and you still get House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. The Senate, I think, is not possible. I think Maine, they blew it, obviously, with Plattner, and now they got Timu Plattner. This guy, Troy Jackson's probably going to be the nominee, and liberals don't like him because he was once staunchly pro-life, and that just ain't going to fly. Now he says he's pro-abortion, but the enthusiasm that Plattner had will not be there for Jackson. I thought Plattner was going to lose to Collins anyway. And then James Tallarico down in Texas. I mean, this guy cannot get off the trans stuff himself either. And the guy who argued that there are 6 genders, and the guy who says that God is non-binary, and that actually Christians are really technically pro-choice, despite what the Bible says. In Texas, that stuff just ain't going to fly. And Trump won the state by 14 points anyway. So what? Tallarico's going to just cut that deficit completely and win in a state that hasn't gone blue in the Senate in many, many years? I don't think so. All right. Well, before we go to break, what is going on this summer? And we have, obviously, Johnny, who we like to play on this show from Jesse Waters' Prime Time, talking to college students who are home for summer break, what their plans are, and it sounds pretty much like it did back in the 80s, to be quite honest with you. This is cut number 13, go.
What college do you go to?
The University of Tampa.
Marist University.
Rutgers University.
Salisbury University.
Woo! What's your major?
Psychology. I'll pick your brain apart.
Cybersecurity.
Nursing major. Hospitality major.
Finance major.
I hear that voice, and you think money.
Summer break, what is the game plan?
Drink a lot. Smoke a lot.
Beach all day, every day.
Wake up around 12 p.m., sit around, and that's about it.
Don't gain the freshman 15 while I'm at home.
Working all summer long in the emergency room.
Get money.
Getting a little drunk.
What are you drinking?
Water, because my parents might be watching.
Hi, Dad. Smart. What is your wildest summer break story?
I was at a party, and I had a curfew. I made a 5-minute drive, a 3-minute run, so I could get home on time.
You didn't want to get grounded?
No, I had another party the next night.
2 dudes are play wrestling. All of a sudden, boom, one dude knocks out the other dude. Cops, pepper spray, everyone's chasing after him. Crazy.
Today, actually, I'm off of probation. I did 1 year.
Yes!
Today, I'm off of probation for the first time in a year.
Probation-free.
Probation-free for hitting a lady in the Dunkin' drive-thru with my car.
Wow. That's pretty good. When is she running for office?
All right.
What?
Man, how do you hit somebody in the drive-thru? Because there's a very tight turns. You could barely go like 2 or 3 miles an hour. You have time to stop. Must have been, I'll tell you, I'll bet you that was distracted driving. You see so many kids these days looking at phones while they're driving. And you're supposed to, like, if you drive drunk, like your reaction time is slowed by like a second, depending on, your blood alcohol content. If you're looking at a phone, this can sometimes be a 3 or 4 second delay before you understand what's happening. And you see more and more accidents these days where somebody's getting hit from behind on a highway where there's some traffic, and that's from people looking at their phones and then thinking the flow of traffic is remaining the same, and then boom. I'd love to see some stats around that. By the way, during that entire Man on the Street package that Johnny did, only one person mentioned that they were working during the summer. How do you people support yourselves? I swear, my kids, that ain't happening. All right. I worked Wayne PAL, New Jersey. I was a counselor for many years. Didn't get paid a lot. I'm pretty sure it was against the law, actually. I guess because it was a nonprofit, they could skirt that. My first year that I was a counselor, I got paid $50 a week, and you worked 8-hour days. So I worked 40 hours to make $50. That's not good, but it was fun. It was social, and $50. You live at home. Back in the late 80s, it was enough. All right. Before we go to break, we have great producers around here, and Kevin was able to find Donald Trump doing Green Acres. Again, this was before TDS set in. This was when Trump was adored by Hollywood and by the media and even by Democrats. This is cut number whatever. Go.
Here to sing the theme from Green Acres, please welcome Donald Trump and Will and Grace's Karen Walker.
Oh, that voice. Listen to that applause. Great song.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide.
That's Trump.
East Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Not bad.
That's where I'd rather stay.
Good job.
It's an allergic smelling hay. Just the door, penthouse view. Darling, I love you. Give me Park Avenue.
Okay, I think we got it. Well, Trump could do a lot of things very well, right? Excellent golfer. Runs the country exceptionally well from my perspective. Again, we talked about inflation way below expectations today. Get that Iran thing finally settled up, and you have low inflation. The jobs reports have been excellent. Peace and prosperity. And a secure border, by the way, and the deportations of the worst. Yep, I'd say he's doing a pretty good job. The singing, I'll give it a B-. Then again, I'm like a D+, so, who am I to say? I never will sing on this show. Well, maybe once. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
Liberalism is a no-go. The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right, everybody. So the Democrat Socialists of America are gaining real steam. They're getting a lot more airtime as well. And now they are brazen in what they truly want to do to this country. It's not like, okay, we're going to Trojan horse it. We get into office and then we'll do a bait and switch. Oh, no. Here is the DSA co-chair. His name is Ashik Siddiqui. And this is one very big objective that the socialists have for the United States. And this ain't good. And if they get power, they'll do it. Cut number 2, go.
Live in this country.
So would you like to abolish the Senate?
That's part of our platform, and we don't think that's extreme. We think it's a change that would help make this country more democratic.
Wait. You take away representation in all 50 states of 2 senators, eliminate the upper chamber altogether, and that's going to make the country more democratic? That's the thing. It's the biggest oxymoron ever. Democrat socialist or democratic socialist. Those two words should not be next to each other. They're slightly contradictory. Want to eliminate the Senate. Oh, man. All right. Run AOC. Make her, if she is part of this group and she's going to run on that, she'll lose 51 states, as we've said on here before, and that is mathematically impossible for now. Meanwhile, who does Joy Behar like for president? Well, they are so, again, I've done television. I hosted 2 3-hour shows, co-hosted a big weekend show on Fox from 5 to 8 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday night. The rundown is quite long, and you really have to prep, right? Because, again, it's live TV. There's millions of people watching, including like so-called media reporters. That you screw up once, oh boy, they'll write that up and just portray you as an idiot or reckless or both. So I at least try to prepare for all my shows, whether it's this radio show, whether it is television, whether it's a 5-minute hit or co-hosting for 3 hours. Joy, however, has to read off of a card here. You can't see in terms of who she likes for president, literally written down for her by producers. And it's just so pathetic. Cut number 4, go.
My hot take of the moment is the most likely person to be the Democratic nominee is Kamala Harris. In every poll, it's usually her and Gavin Newsom neck and neck.
I have a list here.
She's usually ahead. If I may just finish.
I have a better list.
She is usually ahead.
I love her. She was great, but she didn't win one time. What makes you think she's going to win again?
I find it hard to believe that based on the money she raised, the name ID she has, and I don't think the party would pass over her for a generic white man.
I like John Ossoff. He's 39 years old. Yeah. I like Josh Shapiro, 53 years old.
She's reading.
Gavin Newsom, 58.
That's the problem.
And J.B. Pritzker, 61.
What about Pete Buttigieg? What about Pete Buttigieg? Wes Moore? There are some people that are just like...
Wes Moore is good.
Wes Moore is phenomenal. And this
that
is
wasn't written down
one of the
for
things I love about him.
We all love Buttigieg. They're going to vote for a gay guy.
I'm not going to break the party down based on they won't vote for gay white women. I think the identity reduces the charisma of the character, the person in front of us.
Not in reality.
No, I don't think
that's good. That's good, Kev.
That is a reality.
We're good, Kev. Yeah. I mean, she is right about Buttigieg's not getting elected. Black voters do not like him. Forget the gay thing. Just that alone. He ain't getting it. But see that she had to read the name. John Ossoff, 39 years old. Just all written for. That's great. And none of those people will win. Ossoff is too Jewish. Shapiro is too Jewish. That's not me saying an anti-Semitic thing. That's Kamala Harris wouldn't choose Josh Shapiro as her running mate because she felt the anti-Semitic wing of the party would not accept a Jew on her ticket. So if you think that either Shapiro or Ossoff is going to win, given the direction of this party, especially Democrat Socialist America do not like Jewish people. They're profoundly anti-Semitic. It's just not going to happen. And that's just the reality, which then I guess whoever was saying there that Kamala Harris will be the nominee, I'm not saying that that's because she's the best candidate, but I don't know. She's going to have the money. She has the name recognition, and she will lose handily, probably worse than she did to Trump in 2024, regardless of who the Republican nominee is. Anyway, we're out of time, unfortunately, here, people, but we're back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on WABC and on stations around the country, around the world. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.
Where liberalism is a no-go. The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition. Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.